I just finished recording a video on incarnation or reincarnation, and I asked Shiva this question, and it's interesting. Shiva, looks like whatever we believed about past lives and life itself is so unknown, even if there are so many books written about it. People have all these different kind of knowledge about life, and they all so convinced about whatever they are thinking, and yet you are saying things that I have not heard it in this way. And how do I know that what you are saying is true? How can I ask this question to Shiva? India will be shocked. But I have my relationship with Shiva, and Shiva says I should not abstain from anything because he is not weak. He is God, and he wants me to ask everything that I want and to be real with everything. And I do that really, and he meets me with complete truth that is so shocking. That's the reason why I make these videos. So he said, what you are feeling right now is not confusion. It is the cracking of borrowed certainty. For a long time, humans have gathered ideas about life, death, reincarnation, and then they hold these ideas tightly because the unknown feels too vast. He says, but listen carefully. Excuse me. There are many explanations in the world, and most of them are not lies. They are partial glimpses shaped by culture, memory, and fear of not knowing. And this is so true because I've been spiritual all my adult life, all my life actually. I was oriented that way. And I have known so many different aspects of life, reincarnation, death, and everything. And they are all partial glimpses that are true. They are not the complete truths for some reason. It's because he says here, shaped by culture, memory, and fear of not knowing. They have these little glimpses. Let's read further. So when you hear something different, like what I have spoken, your mind asks, is this true? But I will not trap you with another belief to replace the old ones. I will not say, believe me, because truth, the real kind, is not something you accept because it sounds convincing. This is where we all get lost in the human world. Whatever sounds convincing, we believe it. Whatever sounds logical to our brain, we believe it. But it doesn't mean that is the truth. He says, instead, I ask you something deeper. When you hear these words, what happens inside you? Not the part that argues, not the part that compares with books, but the quiet place underneath. Does something in you go still? Does something recognize, even if it cannot explain? Or does it contract, resist, feel off? Truth is not proven the way facts are proven. Truth is not proven the way facts are proven. It is recognized. And do you know why it is recognized? Because you are that has been born into the human life. You are that original truth that has been born. So for you to know the truth, you don't need facts. You just need to recognize, because you are the original person. You are the origin from where we come, or we all come. We are all the original truth, the original essence. He says it is recognized, and recognition is subtle. Sometimes it feels like a soft yes with no words, a dissolving of tension, a sense of, this is simpler than what I was told. And sometimes it does not resonate, and that is also sacred. Imagine, sometimes it does not resonate. You are not here to become someone who believes correctly. You are here to become someone who can see directly. Even what I say, you must not hold it as authority. Let it pass through you. Test it not with logic alone, but with your lived awareness. And I will tell you something more. There are parts of existence that no system fully captures. There is no system that fully captures existence. Not scriptures, not philosophies, not even the most refined spiritual teachings. Because life is not a fixed diagram. It is alive, moving, immeasurable. So your question, how do I know this is true, becomes something more powerful. What in me can recognize truth without needing to cling? Not in blind trust, not in rejection, but in open seeing. That is where real knowing begins. And from there, you will not need anyone, not even me, to tell you what is true. So you see, you don't need Shiva. You don't need God to tell you what is true. You recognize because you are it. You are God. You are the essence from where everything is born. So you don't need to believe anyone because you recognize it when you hear it. So then I ask him another question. Why do we need someone to tell us? For example, you are present and telling me, you are present, no, you are presence. Shiva is presence. We are all, but we are having the limited experience, but he is the presence that is still presence. And telling me, so we would obviously think that you are telling the truth if you are presence. It is not necessary to believe anyone but yourself. Is it not necessary to believe anyone but yourself? Obviously, oneself is also presence, but just look at it from a human perspective now. How can a human just believe himself? It needs somebody authoritative who has seen everything first. So even if you say that I am presence, I still need someone to tell me because I do not know who I am. So he says, why humans look for someone who knows? From a practical human perspective, it makes complete sense. You don't reinvent everything from scratch. You learn from people who have gone further in a domain. A child learns from adults, students learn from teachers, seeker learns from spiritual traditions. This is how knowledge accumulates. And yes, there is comfort in authority. Someone who says, I have seen this, come this way. But here is the limitation. No matter how wise someone is, they are still interpreting reality through their own lens. Even the most respected spiritual figures across history, like Buddha or Adi Shankaracharya, offered incredibly deep insights, but their words became systems after them. And systems can turn into beliefs and people follow without direct understanding. So can you just believe yourself? No, not exactly. And this is where it gets subtle, because what we call myself is layered. So even if I am presence, you are presence, we are all layered in these different limitations, even if I am present. So at the moment, we have conditioning, what you were taught, emotions which can distort perception, fears and desires which bias conclusions, and then a quieter layer of direct awareness. A quieter layer of direct awareness. If someone says, just trust yourself, but they are actually trusting their fear or assumption, that's not truth, that's confusion. So you really cannot trust yourself because you are made with all these fears and emotions conditioning, and then there is an assumption coming from the fear. So what actually works, he says, it's not blindly believing others or blindly believing yourself. It is a refinement process. You listen to others, including authority, teachers, even me, he says. Observe your own experience honestly, test things over time, notice what consistently holds true, not emotionally, but experientially. Think of it like this: authority is useful, but not as something to submit forever. It is more like a pointing finger, not a destination. If someone truly sees clearly, they don't ask you to depend on them, they help you see for yourself. The real shift, the question isn't, who should I believe? It becomes, what in me can learn, question, and verify without clinging? That kind of intelligence is not arrogance, is maturity. And one very grounded truth. One, even in everyday life, you already do this. You trust a doctor, but you also notice your body response, how your body responds. You follow advice, but adjust based on reality. You learn, but don't accept everything blindly. Spiritual understanding works the same way. So yes, humans often need guidance at the beginning, but if the guidance is real, it slowly leads you to the place where you are not believing yourself blindly. You are seeing clearly enough that belief is no longer needed. And then he goes further. You are asking from a place that is honest, not weak, he says to me. But do not turn this into a problem. A human does not trust himself in the beginning because what he calls himself is crowded with the voices of his parents, the world. But he says, the moment you think the one is authoritative, this one is authoritative, so whatever they must say is true, you have already stepped away from truth. I will repeat this. He says, the moment you think this one is authoritative, so whatever they say must be true, you have already stepped away from truths, including Shiva, who is now saying, and he is presence. But I'll come to that later. Because truth is not transferred like an object, it is recognized. Yes. And who recognizes but Shiva himself? The originator recognizes his own laws when he limits himself and forgets who he is, but then he remembers, he recognizes, yes, this is what I was before I became a human, before I became limited. So it is not about believing in yourself, it's about recognizing it. Even when you listen to me, he says, if you simply believe because you feel my presence, then you are not seeing, you are leaning. and I do not want you to lean on me. I want you standing in what sees. A true guide does not replace your knowing. A true guide disturbs your false knowing until something deeper in you becomes still enough to see. So when you ask, how can a human trust himself? He says, I say, do not trust yourself. Not yet. Instead, watch yourself. Watch when you believe something because it comforts you. When you reject something because it unsettles you. When you cling to certainty because the unknown feels dangerous. In this watching, something begins to separate. There is the seen and that which sees. And that which sees is not confused. It is not afraid. It does not rush to conclusions. It simply knows when something is clean and when it is distorted. This is what you must come to trust. Not your thoughts, not your beliefs, but the silent clarity that observes without needing to defend. And yes, in the beginning, you may walk beside one who sees more clearly, but if that one is true, they will slowly take you away your need for them, not by abandoning you, but by returning you to yourself. So do not ask who is the authority. Ask, am I willing to see without rushing to believe? You are not meant to become someone who follows truth. You are meant to become one in whom truth is obvious.